Well, good evening. So, like I shared, tonight is the night before sixth grade starts, and all through the house, excited, packing of book bags and pulling out of pencils and markers and erasers, and talking about what's happening for who's going to be in his class, hoping to see some students, and making jokes that if he remembers how to get to the school, and so lots of big changes. And I know even if you don't have children going back to school this week or this past week, your life is still in upheaval right now because school buses are going to start. Your route may change, your work commute may change, or those you work with may have new conflicting schedules because of the school season changing. So this is why I wanted to share and talk about habits and have that be a big focus of mine coming through this season, because one, it is cathartic to change on the inside health wise when there is a change of season, and we're right on the tails of changing to fall, finishing out our summer days, coming into fall, coming into a new schedule with work and school changes coming up in our environment. And it's cathartically good to change at that time, as well as I personally have found in the last 6 years of working on myself that when things are upheaval and your crazy schedule is kind of going all over the place and you have to change things because there's things that dictate and are needed to be dictated to change, that it's actually simpler to pair in the habits you want to do to the mandatory changes, and that will help you going through it. So I know I've got some good news for you and maybe a little bit of bad news for you when it comes to habits. Something that was really big 6 years ago when I started my transformation of evicting over 100 pounds was the fact that it takes 21 days to create a habit. And that was buzzing around as though it was truth and testament fact. And although you can create some habits in 21 days, and some people can create habits in 21 days or sooner, the truth is that study that gave the amount being 21 days was done on people that had an amputation. So they lost a limb, and it took 21 days to be accustomed to using the other limb to do whatever it was they did with the previous one. So if you think about it, if you're forced to not use your right hand anymore, although not by choice, it is going to be easier to get in habit to use your left hand because the right one is just simply not there. Whereas if you're trying to stop eating chocolate or stop having cookies every single day after dinner, that's going to be a little more challenging than replacing the loss of a limb. So that's why it actually doesn't take 21 days to create a habit. It's a wide range of days and reasons. It can take anywhere upwards of a year or more to create a solid habit. And on average, there's numbers running around right now from between 60 and 110 of being solid days. Now, that being said, there is some other relief that I want to give you about creating a habit. And that is to take the pressure off how long it's going to take you to create that habit. Because the fact of the matter is, whatever habit you're trying to create is a forever habit. You're not going to create a habit to get to a goal and then never do that thing again, right? You're not going to create a habit to have it be part of your life and stop doing it. So you don't have to have the pressure of it's going to take me 21 days or 3 months or 6 months. It doesn't matter how long it's going to take you to actually implement it into going. The point is you are going to be creating it and just making sure that that habit aligns with the you that you're becoming, with who you want to be. And that makes it worth it to keep working on it. And so it's kind of, for me, looking at habits, and I've got a lot of this from different habit books that I've read over the last 6 years. James Clear Atomic Habits is one of my favorite habits books. There's also a mini habits book that's a really short read that's great. John Acuff Finish is a great habit finishing book that helped me work through habits as well. But the thing about habits is if you don't work on creating a habit, it's the same as treating a symptom as opposed to building the cause. So I'm going to use something that's not food related to share this like example so we can be on the same page with it. So think about if your room is in disarray, you have stuff piled everywhere, it's a mess, and you're just like, I just have to clean this room and get it all structured and get it all clean. And once it's neat and organized, it's going to be, perfect, and everything's going to move forward from here. So yes, having a goal to reorganize and clean your room is a great goal, and it's going to feel good when you finish it. However, if you never address the habit of living in that space, the system of using your clothing or using your books or your notebooks, you are going to end up in 3, 6, 9, 12 months back in a room that's in disarray. Because when we're only treating the let me clean the exterior, let me clean the goal, let me get that output, when we're only looking at that, we're treating just the symptom. We're not treating what got you there. So if we don't change that system that got the room dirty, if we don't change the habit that got us there, we're not going to be able to maintain it. And that's where our habits come into play, and they can really help us have that moving forward to where you don't have to keep cleaning out a deep clean every 3, 6, 9, 12 months. And yes, I'm talking to myself when I come to that. It's the same reason why diets don't work, or why, I used to do so many juice cleanses and pills and patches. I did all these things in my 20s and 30s, and they didn't work because although it got to a weight loss goal in a short amount of time, it didn't maintain because I didn't address the habits of how to handle emotional eating, how to handle food choices on the go, how to handle meal prepping, how to fit eating nutritious food into my daily schedule. It didn't teach me the things that 2B Mindset and Portion Fix have taught me to maintain it. Therefore, I was just treating the external and not the internal. And so habits really have the power to move us forward in a long term. And it ends up being more a daily recommitment instead of a one-time hype decision. And so I share that because it is not going to be perfect. You are going to set a habit to make your bed every morning, or you're going to set a habit to drink your shake every day, or get your water in every day, or track your food every day, or get a workout in every day. You're going to set habits like that you want to be part of your life, and something's going to happen and come up that you're going to miss a day, or you're going to miss 2 days, and there's going to be things that trip you up. And I want to reassure you that it's okay. What matters is mastering that showing up anyway, mastering that repetition, and that continuing to do it. I've been talking the last week about who you're becoming and what is the woman that you're becoming. What does she do? What does the man you're becoming? What does he do? What is it that you embody, and who are you becoming? And then just making sure that the habits that you're creating align with who you're becoming. And when you do a habit, it's making a vote for that person. If the person that you want to be shows up and works out every morning and has healthy, nutritious food throughout the day and feels energetic and tracks her food and enjoys her water, if that's who you're becoming, then every time that you get up at 6 a.m. and work out, and every time that you eat that nutritious vegetable, you're casting a vote for who you're becoming, and you get to practice being them. And that's all this journey is practicing repetitiously over and over and over again. Our brains only understand repetition and reward. And that's why I love so much what we have with our programs, because you get to have the reward of completing something. I tracked my food, check it off, yay. I drank my shake, I did my work it off, check it out, yay. I showed up on a call, I leaned in and talked to somebody, I reached out to someone. Like, these are all positives that help us keep going and building that habit, which, as I shared about in the very beginning, is a lifetime. These habits are going to be for our lifetime, and they're going to keep giving us positive benefits. Our healthy habits, our positive habits are like the interest in a bank account, right? Like, every time we lock in a healthy, positive habit, that interest that we earn off of getting that done every day is going to pay us back in dividends over the years. So hopefully that gets you a little excited that even though it doesn't take necessarily 21 days to lock in a habit, that there is a benefit from creating habits. And so what I want to give you some tips right now is getting to look at some things to help you. I'm going to give you 5 things things you can write down or put it in the chat, put it in the chat, or you put it in the chat and you can save it for yourself. Where you can start creating these habits in this high demand season of back to school or schedule changes or season change, and kind of really like flourish throughout this. So the first one is to know yourself. Like, I've got some great news for you. You are already the master of habits. You already have at minimum 3 habits a day. So I'd love to see in the chat what 3 habits a day you already have. So for example, feeding your pets, feeding your children, taking your pets out. Maybe you have a habit of emptying the dishwasher at a specific time of day or filling the dishwasher at a specific time of day. Maybe you have locked in the habit of flossing, and if not flossing, maybe your habit's brushing your teeth. Maybe you've got a way that you have a routine on the way you go to the bathroom and places that you go. So I'd love to see in the chat. So I love this. So reading positive affirmation as a habit, that's a great habit to already have locked in. And so knowing yourself, knowing that you've already mastered some habits and you've got habit chains and habit loops going out there for you. I love that. Flossing, pooping, and having my shake. Like, those are 3. I love it. Hey, everybody poops. And if I get a smile on a Sunday night, I'll take that too. But I love those habits. Like, those are things that we're going to get to do every day. And they're so great because then you get to pair things with it. So now that you know some of the habits, and you can build on this later, but know some of the things you already do every day. The second thing is to know a habit you want to create. Is your habit that you want to create, tell me in the chat. Is it meal prepping? Is it like eating more vegetables? Somebody mentioned vegetables early in. Ooh, I love the habit of laying out work clothes the night before to get ready to work out in the morning. That's a great, you got to trip over your clothes. I will say I've already slept in my workout clothes to get myself going. Okay, so meal prepping is a habit we want to create. Drinking more water, eating more veggies, working out, waking up earlier to get the workout in before work. That's a great one. Perfect. Yes, yes, yes. I love it. Working out, good one. Positive affirmations. I love it. Meal prepping, cleaning your spaces. Okay, perfect. So now that you know these things that you want to create that you're not currently living, you got to put a pause button on and take some time to say, why do I want this? Like, why will my life be easier when my space is clean? Why will I benefit when I meal prep? What will be better in my life when I meal prep? How will I be able to handle interactions in my daily life when I meal prep? What will be better when I meal prep? I love that. Sierra says everything. Absolutely. I think when you take care of yourself and you have that for you, yes, everything does get better. I love it. You'll feel more healthy. You'll have more energy. When you really take some time to see the benefit of why it's worth it, and who you're becoming that these habits fold to, that is going to help you do our step 4, which is getting to habit match and habit pair something you already do to something that you're wanting to create and something you're wanting to do. One of my first habits that I started pairing was drinking my pre-workout and getting ready to work out when I fed my cats. My cats will tell me if it's getting too late in the morning. They will come for me and they will want food, and that will help me. Okay, well, it's time to work out. And if I'm down in the kitchen already, I sleep on the 3rd floor, I'm down in the kitchen, I'm going to go and take that next step, and I'm already down here, I'm going to jump on and work out, right? Maybe your dog has to go for a walk or go to the bathroom. If you're looking to meal prep, and this is something you're looking to start, a habit that you could pair it with is bringing home food. So one thing you can do, a meal prep a day, a mini prep, as opposed to trying to prep the whole week and take those 3 or 4 hours on a Sunday right out the gate. You can start by doing something like, when I bring my food home or when I'm unpacking the kids' lunches from school, I can prep my breakfast and lunch for tomorrow, or I can prep my snacks for tomorrow because I'm already going to be in the kitchen unpacking what I did, right? I'm already going to be by the sink. I don't know if your sink is near the fridge like mine, but I'm going to be right here. So why don't I take a look at what's in the fridge and maybe heat up something? Or, if you're cooking dinner, portioning off some of that and mixing some of your dinner with different foods to have for the next day, kind of pairing across the fact you're already going to be having dinner, you're already going to be in the kitchen. What can I do? What small thing can I do? Can I wash a couple of vegetables while dinner's cooking and be getting my dinner, my snacks ready while dinner's cooking? And so just taking a little step like that. And so that takes me into the last tip. And the last tip, number 5, is starting simply. Pairing one thing, just kind of like I was sharing about the meal prepping, that you're just making a mini prep of tomorrow's food or prepping in the morning for the afternoon's food. You don't have to start with absolutely everything out the door. I love sharing the story. I'm traditionally a slower reader. And one of the things I've been encouraged the last 6 years so heavily is to read. And I would find myself reading the same book for like 6 months and getting only one chapter in. Reason being, I would tell myself if I couldn't read a chapter, I wasn't going to read anything. I was just going to wait until I could read a whole chapter, because it's not worth it unless I read a whole chapter a day. And the truth is, I wasn't, just like we talked about in the beginning, I wasn't changing anything in my routine or my schedule to permit the time to read a whole chapter. So it wasn't happening. And 6 months later, I was still in the first chapter of a book. So I changed what I expected from myself. And instead of reading a whole chapter, I promised I would read at least one page. After that promise of me reading one page a day, I finished that book in 6 weeks. Reason being, because so often once I was reading that one page, I read more. Now, some days I only read one page. Truth be told, it was in the bathroom very quickly, but I only read one page. However, reading that one page would add up over time. And when I started reading that one page, that it got to be more that I could finish a book, I realized, okay, I have more time than I think. I was putting it off all this time because I didn't think I had the time to read a whole chapter, and I was missing out. So starting simple by starting with one page, starting simple with, if you're trying to track your food and you're really struggling with that, I encourage you to set the tracker and a pen on your kitchen counter, and every time you go in the kitchen, touch your book. Just touch your book and have that be the start to where eventually you're going to be like, okay, I'm just going to jot it down. I know for me, when I started tracking, I thought I didn't have enough time to track. And I timed it. It took less than 20 seconds to write what I ate. So then I kind of realized the truth was I have the time. I'm just not making the priority. For me, I was not tracking because I didn't want to see what I was writing. I wasn't ready to face it. And once I had that honest conversation with myself that nothing's going to change if nothing's going to change, eating a cookie, eating something silly is not the end of the world. It happens, right? Alana says we can be silly. We can be silly sometimes. Even Portion Fix, a lot's for treats. Even the Gut Protocol, a lot's for silly foods. So I realized, okay, it's not going to hurt unless I have the true data. I can't make changes if I don't know where I am. And I started tracking, and has it been perfect for 3 years? No, I've missed days, I've missed time in there. I've missed meals, but I get right back to it. Because just like I shared, our habits that we're creating for our whole life. It isn't something that we just work this habit until we're done, right? There's not like I do a habit until I get to the goal and then I'm done. No, the habit's then going to be part of our life. So since it's going to be part of our life, we can take the pressure off needing it to happen in a specific amount of time. And so hopefully some of this was helpful. Just as a quick recap of the 5 things that I gave you to look at was 1, know yourself. Know that you're already the master of habits, and give yourself some kudos for that. Write down some of those things you do every single day, even if you think it's silly. Starting the coffee maker every day at the same time, feeding the pets, going out, brushing your teeth, going to the bathroom, all those things that you already do by habit, can help you. Write them down. Number 2, know what habits you want to create. I am a fan of the super mega habits like sleeping, movement. Thank you to exercise and being active mentally for longevity. It helps with stress. I mean, there's so many benefits to exercising. Reading as a habit helps you solve any problem you have in the future. Any problem that you have, you can find the solution by talking to someone who's overcome it. And if you don't know someone personally who's overcome it, that's what authors get to do, right? Writing, journaling, really getting to research what you think and what you're doing, tracking your food, your movement, and of course your nutrition, how you're feeding yourself, how you're spending your time. Number 3 is, why do you want these habits? What are you going to benefit from them? How is it going to help you? How is it helping who you're becoming? So that you can give some weight to why. Number 4, now you have those 2 lists of habits, things you already do, things you want to do, and now you get to pair them together. And I love doing that. So message us in the chat, post it in your group. I have no doubt that one of the coaches or I will have fun helping you find a way to pair that into your already existing life. And number 5, start simple. Action plus time equals results. Always. It is those seemingly small things that we do every single day that we think have no power that really end up adding up. I think one of the first things that Jamie taught me 6 years ago is so often we overestimate what we can do in a month and underestimate what we can do in a year. So be here in a year and see how much better it is. And by be here in a year, we mean using your tools, leaning in, fumbling through the squiggle, working through it, and seeing how far you can get. So that is what I have for you. I'm going to look through the chat, see if there's any questions. If anybody in these last 5 minutes wanted to unmute and ask a question or had something to share, please do. I'm going to check through the chat here.
Somebody asked what BATT, B-A-T-T was. I had the same question.
Oh, okay. The BATT is a coaching term. It's the business activity tracker. So it's actually it's basically a tracking metric of things that we need to do to move our business forward. So you could create that for your health or life journey as well. If you are a coach here in your back office, there's an activity tracker template that you can use. It's a great question. So I love these. Woman I'm becoming, I want to set a healthy example for my kids. Pairing meal prepping with dropping the kids off on Tuesday and Fridays. And I love prepping those like 3 days at a time. And I think Amber shared this, I think it was in January or February. She shared the idea of mini prepping on Fridays and having some of that food available for the weekend. Because I know the weekend is where I prepped everything on Sunday and now I am eating it. And so since I'm eating it, I'm not able to it's all consumed. So yay, I ate all my food I prepped for the week, but now I'm going into the weekend without the structure. And so it's helped me, throwing in some chicken or fish and roasting some veggies on Friday. It's super quick. Sometimes I even do it while I'm working out. And then on the weekend, I have that same stability of food to pick from that helps me during the week. Okay, making the bed. Ooh, Jennifer's going to take on making the bed, or she does. It helps start the day on an organized foot. I think there's a book that talks about that too.
I want to.
You want to? Okay, you're going to. I think there's a book that talks about that being really helpful. That starting the day that's one of the things I was talking about. It's like casting a vote for who you want to be. So you want to be positive, organized, ready to take charge of your space in the day. So doing that by making your bed and starting off in that direction, I think that'll be great. So
it's the Sustain Your Game book that I'm reading right now that you sent that podcast about from
oh yeah.
Oh, why can I never
Ed Milet.
Ed Milet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that book is very good, but it's that book that he talks about making the bed. I'm sure it's not the only one, though.
Yep. Yep. Oh, awesome.
Thanks.
Nicole's already been making her bed for over the year. So wonderful, wonderful. Well, it doesn't look like there's any other questions I missed. I'm so excited to see what habits you are going to step off and create from in here. I know I, for one, my September 1st group is going to be a 5-week focus on creating habits and building those habits over 5 weeks. So I'm excited to take on that. And oh, the birthday girl is here.